Today we're going to talk about how we retired at the age of 27 and had financial freedom where passive income pays for our needs and our wants. And today is the first part of our series of how we actually did that step by step. And we're going to talk about the first step in this video, which is destroying high interest debt. So if you're new to the channel, my name's Ariane and this is my better half, Chris, and we retired at the age of 27. We co-own over 2,400 rental units with partner investors, and we made this channel so good people like you can also have financial freedom so you can live the life that you deserve. So today we are going to talk about how we destroyed high interest debt. First, let's recap. If you watch some of my other videos, you know that we have 5 stages to financial freedom. The first stage is destroying high interest debt. The second stage is building a safety net. The third stage is building passive income that pays for your needs, and so on and so forth. Watch the other video to kind of get a deeper understanding of that. But today we're going to talk about stage 1, destroying high interest debt. So Chris, can you tell us what high interest debt is and why it's important to destroy it before you actually start investing?
Yep, so at the moment we're defining high interest debt as debt with interest rates higher than 6%. The reason we picked that particular breakpoint is because usually it's easy to invest and get returns that are less than 6%, but it actually takes some effort to get returns that are higher than 6%. So that's typically where we put our breakpoint currently. So one of the reasons why we're having this particular conversation is because investing is sexy. Everyone gets so excited, they get so amped up about it. We have friends, family, coworkers, clients, they all come to us because they know we've been doing this for a while and they ask us, hey, how do I get started investing? I've got some money sitting in an account, I want to go invest. And then we start looking into them. We don't just arbitrarily prescribe something for somebody, we actually dig into their situation a little bit and we find out that they've got credit card debt or they've got some other like student loans that are high interest student loans or something like that currently. Yes, they have money in a bank account, but they also have this debt that's looming above them. And I think the reason is because people don't associate paying off debt with a good investment when it's actually one of the most incredible investments you can make, right? Where else can you find a credit card, for example, like 15, 20% interest, right? Where else can you find an instant, guaranteed, double-digit, let's say 15 to 20% return? Again, that guaranteed part, like not some crypto craze, but like a guaranteed instant return that compounds monthly. Like that investment is really hard to do. You can do it, but it's really, really difficult, especially as a brand new investor, right? So we really have to change your mindset there and realize that paying off that high interest debt is probably the best investment you'll make ever. Yeah, it could be ever.
Yeah, because of that guaranteed piece.
Yeah,
like
guaranteed. And again, this is a very common problem. It's not like something that one person has specifically. Like several people have come to us with this exact situation where they have some money sitting in an account ready to invest, but they still have debt.
Right.
And it's the wrong order, right? You have to do these stages in order, otherwise you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
You can't go to stage 3, which is when you start investing in something that gives you passive income, because in real estate a lot of times we're getting like 5 to 10% a year in cash flow income, but that's not guaranteed, right? So
and it takes work.
Right, and a lot of time, like you'll see in the other videos in the series. But if you have a 15% credit card debt or a 10% car loan debt you can pay on right now, that's an instant guaranteed return.
Yep.
So definitely do that first. So now we're gonna talk about our actual story of when we were in this stage, right? So we started like everyone else. We got good grades, got good jobs, got married, and started living happily ever after. And then we realized like, oh wait, there was a lot of things missing in this manual, right? I actually was the one who brought a lot of high interest debt into the relationship. I had a bachelor's degree and a master's degree and a lot of student loan debt associated with that. I actually worked throughout college to pay it off as much as I could, but even after that, when we got married, I still brought $50,000 in student loan debt to our marriage. And I think it was like 7.5% interest, something like that. So we knew we wanted to pay it off as soon as possible, because at the time, we didn't even know we could make 10% returns, right? We were just like, well, the interest rate in my savings account is 1%, so obviously this is better. 7% return by not having to pay that 7% is better. So we started down that path. So now we're going to talk about how Chris actually destroyed high interest debt.
Yeah. So for us, we had tackled this from a couple different directions. The first thing we did is what I think everybody instinctually does when we're trying to dig ourselves out of a hole. We just work harder. We try to do the same thing more. So we worked our little tushies off trying to get raises and promotions, and we were very successful at that. I was a software engineer, so I started as junior entry-level software engineer, and I wrote really good code, and I had really few bugs, and people started to like me, and I started teaching other people how to do stuff, and I worked my way up to get as much credibility within my company and became as invaluable to my company as possible so that they would give me a raise. So I got promotion after promotion after promotion to try and boost my active income to try and, because we knew that we needed extra income in order to pay off our debt.
Right. And I was a speech language pathologist, so same thing. We both worked really hard at our jobs. Usually it was, you put in at least 8 hours, and then after that you're like learning the other 8 hours we had extra.
Oh, not even that. I was working 60, 80-hour weeks just to prove I was worth it.
Right, yeah. Same with me. I think I had like 8 hours of patient time and then another 2 to 4 hours of like documentation time because I couldn't do that with my patients. But it was part of the job, right? And then the other 4 hours I was like studying so I can be better, so I can do more things at work, so I can eventually get a raise. So we did that for years so we can actually increase our income.
So that's how we boosted our income. And I think one of the things that we do a little bit differently than most people is that when we boosted our income, we didn't automatically increase our expenses to match, right? Okay, I got a raise, I'm going to go buy a boat or something like that. That's not, we were already happy with what we were spending before. So instead of allocating that income, that extra income, to something we already knew we didn't need because we were already happy, right? We allocated that to paying off this debt. So we would every time we would get a raise, we would start grinding away that debt faster and faster and faster.
Right, and this is a great time to introduce the concept of the gap, right? One of the things that we are really passionate about is people understanding this concept, this gap. Like, the real gap between the rich and poor isn't that someone has more money and someone doesn't. The main thing is really what they do with their money, right? And even in this destroying high income debt phase, you have to understand that you have to have a gap between your income and your expenses. And a lot of times we fall into this trap of like lifestyle creep, right? Mm-hmm. When a lot of people, when they make an extra $1,000 a month, they find $1,000 to spend it on, right?
But society trains us that way, right? Society trains us to be consumers. So, we've got extra, we need to go consume more. When, if you think about it, if you hadn't gotten that raise, you were already happy.
Right. Yeah, like all the media and social media tells you that you gotta buy this new shirt, or you gotta buy this new car, or you gotta upgrade your car, upgrade your
new phone,
right? Like, it's all these upgrades, and they just, what you're not realizing is they're taking your money, right? Like, I get it, you like the phone, but like, did you really like it that much to like work another 10 years for the nice phone and the nice boat and all that?
And it's no for now and not forever, right? It's a postponing thing. Like,
right.
First, we pay off these things that are anchors.
Right. Yeah. Like, spoiler alert. After you do this for a few years, you have enough money to put into assets, so the assets make income, and then you don't have to make income anymore. You don't have to be the asset anymore. Because guess what you are right now? You are the asset to society, right? Yeah. Like, you are an asset making income. Like, you want to direct that income you are making now into assets, which for us is usually real estate, so that the asset makes the income to pay for your fun stuff now, mm-hmm. right? And to pay for your lifestyle. So that's the end goal, but now we're talking about like the nitty-gritty of like how to actually pay off this high interest debt first. So that's that concept of the gap. So like Chris said, we increased our income, did everything we could to increase our income, and then we just didn't increase our expenses. Right. Like, when we started dating, we were broke college students, and we pretty much continued living like broke college students, right? So we lived in a little $850 2-bedroom apartment back in the day, right? Like, and we didn't...
We're not that old yet.
And we're foodies, but we didn't eat out every day like we kind of do now when we're traveling, right? Like, we cooked a lot, but we were happy. Mm-hmm. I actually really enjoy cooking. Chris, I think, likes my cooking. So, like, you can be happy without all the material stuff that people make you think you need right now.
And the right now is the point, right? You can have all of that stuff, just make sure passive income pays for it. And in order to do that, you have to first increase your expenses, wait to increase your increase your income. Wait to increase your expenses so that you can pay off all the debt and you can invest in things that pay you. So now everything else is free.
And guys, we didn't wait that long. I just told you earlier, we retired at 27. So by the time we were 27, we both quit. He quit a nice software job. I quit a nice medical job, and we were making over 100 grand in passive income. And so now all the trips we made, like our mortgage payments is paid by passive income, and now it's even significantly more than that. Unfortunately, we are significantly older than 27 now. So our passive income has also grown. But anyway, so those are what we did to destroy high interest debt. Really, it's increase income and not increase expenses.
Next step is to look at your actual expenses and see if there's things you can trim. Because that's the other place people go is either to boost your income or decrease your expenses. We're saying that you don't even have to decrease your expenses as long as you don't increase them. But let's say you wanted to do this a little faster, right? You can look at all your expenses and see for each one, is it worth it? Is Mountain Dew worth an extra year to retire? No.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like, we did actually decrease some expenses, like your Mountain Dew story.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, so even if you just don't increase your expenses, you'll get there. If you get there faster by reducing the stuff that you don't really care about. If you've got like 3 streaming services and you only really care about one, cancel the other 2 and use that to pay off debt.
We should tell the Mountain Dew story. So, Chris used to drink like, I think 12 Mountain Dews a day.
Cans, yes.
Mountain Dew cans a day, which was like what, $5?
I don't remember.
Something like $5. But if you think about it, $5 times 30 is like $150 a month, which is not nothing, right? And also not very healthy for him.
What?
So,
I was a software dev. That was like my lifeblood.
I know. But Chris made that decision of like, would I rather spend $150 a month now, or would I rather now put that towards high interest debt and later be able to drink all the Mountain Dew and swim in it if I wanted to with passive income, right? Like, so he chose the latter. But we had a nice
now our pool's filled with Mountain Dew. No, wait, no.
Now we have a nice little epiphany that he actually doesn't have to drink Mountain Dew all day, every day anymore. Some other extra tips is if you have a lot of high interest credit card debt, then you can actually look into some balance transfer credit cards. So for example, like you just Google it, balance transfer credit cards, and you can like apply to different ones. And then, so let's say you have, I don't know, $20,000 at 20% interest rate. You can usually get a balance transfer card that gives you like a 0% intro rate for what, 18 months, something like that.
Yeah, 6
so
to 18
instead
months.
of paying 20% on $20,000 for 18 months, you just pay a little bit towards this other credit card, and then as you're destroying your high interest debt, you're not paying, you're not having to pay that 20% interest in that meantime.
Yep.
So that's a big savings.
And 2 things on that very specific point. 1, just be careful for the balance transfer fees. Sometimes those can be pretty big. And 2, during the time you have 0 interest, you need to be paying that down. Like, take advantage of that window, because that's the point here, right? That is a way to make huge gains on tearing away that debt without it accruing interest. Pay it down as quickly as possible in that period, in that intro period.
Right. And another note is the way we like paying off high interest debt is we go from the highest interest to the lowest interest. I know some people say look at the lowest balance first, but if you just look from a return standpoint, earlier we were talking about how if you pay off a 20% interest rate, that's a 20% guaranteed return, right? That's actually the best return you're going to get. We recommend doing it that way, right? Because if you don't pay off the highest interest rate first, and let's say that happens to be 20%, and you instead paid off a 10% card, you're still
losing ground fast.
20%, right? So we recommend higher interest thing first. But hey, if you absolutely will only pay off the lower one, that's better than nothing.
It's a quick win, right? The alternative argument there is that if you pay off the lowest balance, you might get a quick win, which builds like confidence and morale, and you might stick with it because you're starting to see benefits. But that's just looking at the numbers, right? So honestly, we recommend the highest interest rate first because it's the most effective and it will get you out of debt fastest. But if you need those little dopamine hits, feel free to do the other way as long as it works.
Yeah. The other thing too that, so we have a little consulting wealth coaching thing. And one of our members there, what she did to pay off her high interest debt really fast, I think she had like $30,000 in high interest debt, was she sold something she didn't use, right? She had this car that was just sitting in her porch
Driveway. Driveway is the word you're looking for.
There was a car sitting on the driveway, and you know, she wasn't using it, and she's been telling us about this car for years, and we're like, no, why don't you sell that? So she made like $3,000 selling it. So that chipped away 10% off of the 30 grand, right? And she just started looking for things that she wasn't using. I think she sold 2 cars, and like she trimmed a lot of like kind of the Mountain Dew story examples we were talking about. Like they weren't really good for her, and she didn't really want them. She was just in a habit of paying for all this stuff. And in a few months, she paid off $30,000 worth of credit card debt, which is amazing. So you'd be surprised at how fast you can do this once you just start chipping away at it and treat it like a game, right? Like make it a goal. Hey, look, I got 30K. And look, I just crossed off $3,000. I'm like 10% there, right? Like make it fun, because it really is like you're moving towards your financial freedom. Because
it honestly gets addictive, like seriously.
And without doing that, we would never get to this point where anything we want, anything we do, passive income pays for it, right? And we get to record silly YouTube videos like this because what else are we gonna do, right? With our time. If we're not traveling or eating, we're recording or scripting videos. There we go. Anyway, any last words, Chris?
So I think one more place that people sometimes have, if you own a house but you still have a lot of high interest debt, sometimes you can refinance your house and use that to pay off debt. Because, you know, mortgage rates currently are probably 4 or 5% for homes, and interest rates on credit cards are 15 to 20%, so that's a huge win. Again, the point there is you must use that money to pay off debt because it is the best investment you can make. Don't do that and then go buy something frivolous or try to buy an investment property that's not going to be as good of a return as the instant guaranteed compounding return of paying off debt.
Right.
High interest debt.
All right, so now we talked about destroying high interest debt. The next part of the series is building a safety net. So make sure you check out all the videos in the series, guys. It's really important, and you're going to hear about like our funny stories. You know, we're very entertaining, right?
Wow.
Yeah. If you
We're
like...
super modest too. Just like we're the most modest people on the planet.
If you like this video, click that like button. If you didn't like it, I guess click the dislike button. At least we'll know you watched it.
No.
Or click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can see the next comedy episode. Link to financial freedom. All right, guys. We also have an Instagram and TikTok. If you want to see daily videos about investing, check us out there. We also have a free Facebook group called Faster Financial Freedom, so you can interact with all of our community members and you can ask questions, and maybe they have their own Mountain Dew stories. So we will see you at the next video.